The false smoke and the riderless horse. The sun was beating down hard as sin on that baked-up land twixt Sierra Blanca and Guadalupe. Ground was cracked like an old skillet, and nothing but the memory of rain lingering in the dust. That day buzzards was wheeling low overhead, a sure enough token something mean was fixin' to happen. Marcus, he wa'n't out there hunting, no sir. Him and 4 braves from his circle had a sharper business on their minds. They was nosin' after Rancho El Cuervo, the same cursed place where them Mexicans had set out to Mirror Valley. Every trail twisted and bent itself that-a-way, so it weren't no puzzle figuring where to point a pony's nose. Come nightfall, they squatted in the shadows, counting soldiers and watching how them fellers moved, eat, and slept. Marcus finally spoke, quiet and sly as a fox. "Boys, we ain't gonna trade shots this evening. No. We's gonna trick 'em into thinking we done busted into 20 camps. First thing they worked up was false smokes. They scraped up dry brushwood and kindling, lighting 5 fires across 5 ridges. Now any desert man knows 1 smoke means a camp, 5 scattered out means an army's camped around 'em like wolves. Then come the tracks. 1 young buck walked hisself backward, dragging a wet buffalo hide so's his prints got wiped slick. 2 more stomped circles like a drove of men had tromped there, and Marcus, grinned big as a split melon, set a horse trail with a cactus tied to its tail, scratching the sand like a whole column marching up a hill. But Marcus's favorite trick, that riderless horse. Lord, he near cackled setting it up. They lashed a dummy, wood, grass, and agave leaves into the saddle, throwed a tattered blanket round its shoulders, corn silk hair flapping, bow tied across its noggin, eagle feathers sticking proud. Come dusk, they loosed that poor beast in the valley, and he tore across the dark like a ghost, scaring them Mexican sentries clean out they boots. When black night come, the boys split. Each had his chore. A couple shot arrows burning like little stars into empty tents just to make mischief. Others pinched boots, a jug of water, a sack of corn. Nothing vital, just enough to gnaw at a tired soldier's mind, keeping him squirmy and wide-eyed 3 nights running. Next morning, that Mexican camp was bristling like a porcupine. They figured Apaches had 'em ringed, big tribe, merciless as sin. Not 1 warrior touched, not 1 gunshot wasted, just patience, smoke, and trickery. Marcus and his fellers, they didn't linger. They had news to tote home. The blood on Mirror Valley's ground was traced. But afore riding off, they lit tumbleweeds, fanning the fire with blankets, letting the wind shove them flames smack toward Rancho El Cuervo. That'd keep the Mexicans hopping while reinforcements got fetched. Marcus reined up, spoke the desert's own law. When you wrestle a beast, you turn yourself a shadow. When you fight in the desert, you best become the wind. Then, with dust boiling under hoof, they lit out for the Mescalero camp, leaving smoke, fire, and a heap of rattled soldiers in their wake. The trap at Arroyo Seco. 3 days later, Lieutenant Ramos and his poor dust-choked company was still meandering round like lost geese south of Mescalero Butte. Their tongues stuck to the roofs of their mouths, their feet was wore to blisters, and their brains was jangling with the terror of them unseen redskins. The smoke from them sham fires had petered out, but the doubt, Lord bless it, hung on like a tick. "I can't tell where we be no more," Ramos grumbled, swiping his brow with a sleeve black as a skillet. "We smack in the middle of hell," says Joaquin, spitting red dust. "And the devils here got horsetails for whips and arrows dipped in pizen." What none of them knew was they was tramping dead straight into the very snare Marcus had laid out for 'em. Arroyo Seco weren't nothing but a dry gulch, cut deep and mean, flanked with boulders and sage. From high above it looked no more'n a scar on the earth's hide, but down inside it was a coffin waiting for a lid. Marcus and his 4 braves had been squatting there since cockcrow. One had eyes sharp as an eagle's beak. Another hadn't coughed since the day he was born. An old fellow what could set hisself so still you'd think he was carved from rock. And Goyale, he'd done learned from the medicine man hisself how to ghost a trail and win a war without showing his shadow. When the last Mexican pony stumbled down into that gully and the silence got thicker in molasses, Marcus let slip a whistle, short and quick like a night bird. Now. Then all perdition cracked loose. Great rocks come a-tumbin' down, crashing into the column's flank. Horses screamed and pitched, knocking soldiers every which away. From the cliffside an Apache bowstring sang, flamin' arrow dartin' into them powder sacks. Just a spark, but lordy, it looked like the end of days to them poor fellers. Behind us! No, front! They's everywhere! Mexicans blazed away at shadows, at rocks, at wind. Bullets whined, hitting nothing but the air. The Apaches, they was never where you looked. Shoot once, vanish, pop up yonder, like ghosts laughing in the dark. Ramos tried climbing back up the slope, but his mount went down in a heap. Joaquin, blood smeared across his mug, tore round screaming the Apaches was closing in. Truth was, not a soul had 'em hemmed. They could have bolted clean away if they'd knowed the right path. But Marcus had laid his trick proper. False tracks in the dust, branches broke on purpose, hoof prints sunk deep in a puddle, all guiding 'em straight to the quicksand. And sure enough, 2 soldiers got sucked clean to their waists. Another hit his knees, yammering prayers to St. Jerome in that mournful Spanish tongue, begging heaven to snatch him up out the mire.
Oh glorioso San Jerónimo, protector de la fe y sabio doctor de la Iglesia, en este momento de gran peligro, te imploro con todo mi corazón. Los indios nos atacan y nuestras vidas están en sus manos. Tú, que fuiste un hombre de gran fortaleza y que dedicaste tu vida a Dios, intercede por nosotros ante nuestro Señor Jesucristo. Protégenos de todo mal, aleja de nosotros el peligro y danos la fuerza para resistir. San Jerónimo bendito, mira con compasión a tus hijos que sufren. Líbranos de esta aflicción y guíanos hacia la seguridad. Que tu santa intercesión nos salve en esta hora oscura. Amén.
In the middle of that racket, a long whistle sounded. Just like that, the Apaches was gone. Nothing left but dead silence, a belly-deep fear, and a few feathers tied to a spear, planted firm as a grave marker. Sign of revenge. Later, when Ramos drug himself back to Rancho El Cuervo, he croaked for 2 things, water and a map. We ain't never setting foot in the land of them stone shadows again, he swore, voice shaking. That place ain't of this earth. It's a bad dream walks 'bout in daylight.